Hello everyone, welcome back to PN&L channel where we create content with practical IT solutions. If our videos are helpful to you, kindly subscribe to this channel, click the thumbs up button and let us know in the comment section what you would like to see. In this video, we will be installing and configuring HAProxy and creating self-signed certificates to secure Openstack services communications. So let's dive right in. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create certificates on all the HAProxy servers. So we're going to open the ssl.conf file and we go to here. So here we're going to comment out this directory here. We're going to do the same thing for HAProxy1. We have two HAProxies. So if we look here, so here these are the two proxy servers that we're going to be using. It's going to be connected to the management network and it's going to be load balancing between all controller nodes in this portion of the diagram. So let's continue. So the next thing we're going to do is the directory we're going to be using is /etc/ssl, and we're going to add that to this file. And then we go to the bottom here, and here we're going to put a space between here. We're going to do the same thing for the second HAProxy. Comment out this, and we add this directory, and we go down here, space, we save the file. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some files that we're going to be using to create the self-signed certificate. So we're going to create these directories, new certs, CRL, and we're going to create this index.txt file, and we're going to echo 01 to a serial file. We're only going to do that on the first proxy server. So here we're going to press enter. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy this file that we just create, these two files we just created, the index.txt file and the serial file. We're going to copy that to the second proxy server. So we're going to do this. We're going to create a root password. We're going to do the same thing on the second proxy server. So once that is done, we will now copy these two files to the second proxy server. So we're going to do this. And so we're going to copy that into the /etc /SSL directory on there. Say yes, and then type the password. Okay, let us see. Still an SSL file directory. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to copy it into the home directory of Ultracom. Okay, that is copied. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move the files to the /etc/SSL directory. So use that. That is done. So now the cert is for signed certificates. So new certs is for new generated certificates. The private folder is for private key files. The CRL is for the revocation of certificates in the event that the certificate expires or is compromised. It will be revoked. So before generating any certificate, we need to generate a random seed on HAProxy1 and then copy it to HAProxy2. So we're going to go to HAProxy1 and we're going to create the random. That's done. Then because the permission was denied while I was copying the file to the /etc/SSL directory, I will copy it to the Ultracom directory first, or a user directory. Then I will move the .rand file to the /etc/SSL file on the and that is done. Then we now change the ownership of all the files that we've copied on both proxy servers. I'm going to change the ownership to root, because these are sensitive files. We don't want just anyone to, oh sorry, I need to change directory on this here, and then we change ownership. It's done. So the next thing we're now going to do is we're going to use OpenSSL to create and store the private key. So we're going to do this only on the first proxy server. So we're going to use the OpenSSL gen RSA-des3 out private key. So we're going to put it in the private key is going to go into the private key folder. So the private key we're creating first is the certificate authority private key. So, and I'm using the key length of 4096. You can use it 2048, depending on your preference. So we're going to give this a password. So there is going to be a command that is going to remove this. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to generate copy the private key that we generated earlier on into CA key. Copy the CA key that we generated into the CA.key. So we're going to now type in the password that we used earlier. And then we're now going to create a PEM file from the CA key, CA.key to CA key.pem, which is going to remove the password or the passphrase that we created earlier on. So next, we're going to generate a certificate sign-in request, and we're going to do that on the first proxy server. So using that command, then we will generate a root certificate, which is the root CA, to determine the authenticity of the certificates that we're generating. Now we're going to do the same and generate a CRT. Press enter. So next thing we're going to do is to generate the Openstack key, a private key for the Openstack, using the certificate authority that we created earlier on, which is we're going to use the CA key, the PEM, and the CA.cer. So we're going to run this on the first HAProxy. We're going to type in a passphrase. Then we're now going to create our private key. We're going to type in the password we used earlier on. Then we are going to remove the passphrase from the private key and then create a PEM file. So now we're now going to create a conf file that we're going to use to create the certificate or to generate the certificate. So this is the configuration. All these files will be made available in the comments section or in the description below. So this is what we are going to be using. As you can see, I've added the proxy server, the domain name, the proxy server FQDN, the virtual IP, the host name of the virtual IP, and the controller nodes. We're going to press enter. So now we're going to generate the CSR for the certificate. So certificate requests, certificate sign-in request. So I use the Canada and SK Saskatoon. Openstack, yes, and that is all. So we're going to verify the CSR. So as you can see, the conf file that we used to generate this is giving us all these parameters, as you can see. So next, we're now going to generate the software certificate. You will see the so as you can see here, we have the X509-request and the days. You can use any number of days. So we're going to use the external file, which is the openstack.conf that we created earlier on. If you look at what we have here, so as you can see here, this is the openstack.conf file that we generated. Oh, sorry. This one here, the openstack.conf file that we generated in the configuration file above. And the next thing is we're going to press enter. Also, before we press enter, as you can see here, there's the openstack.csr, the certificate signing request file that we created earlier on. And this is the output, which is going to go into the certs folder. So the certificate has been generated. So we're now going to check the certificate using this command. As you can see, this is the dir name and the serial number. So now we're now going to convert the CER to the OpenStack CER file. We're going to convert it into the CRT. So from certs here to openstack.crt. Then we convert it to PEM. Next, we're going to copy the CA key.pem and the ca.cer to the second proxy server. Type in the password that has been copied. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy the private key and the p.openstack.pem certificate as well. We're going to copy it to the second controller in our password. Next, we're going to move to the second controller and move the files we copied from the first controller to the new controller. Sorry, to the new HAProxy node. We've moved the CR file. Now we're going to move the OpenStack.pem certificate, and then we're going to change the ownership for security reasons. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to copy the certificate authority into the local ca-certificates.crt. I'm going to change directory into that folder, and then we run that. So we're going to do the same on the first controller as well. Sorry, the first HAProxy. And that is done. So when we get to the section of installing the controllers, we will copy most of these certificates. We'll copy them onto the controller node and the compute node as well. So the next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to install HAProxy. So what we're going to do is we're going to install HAProxy and keep alive D. Keep alive daemon is what checks for keep alive, or to check if the other proxy server is alive, or if it is dead, then it will now switch over to the second proxy server. So we're going to install HAProxy, keep alive D, and Apache on both servers. So we wait until it is done. So that is complete. So the next thing is we're going to create the following on both proxy nodes. We're going to add a new group called keep alive D, and we're going to add user keep alive D as well. So once that is done, we're going to create a check script. That's a script that is going to be checking the aliveness of the proxy servers. So we're going to use this script, and then we will next thing is we're going to change the mods on the file to make it executable. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to configure the keep alive D on each of the proxy node, and this is what we're going to use. So as you can see here, it's going to be using the VRRP instance and the virtual router, and this is the virtual IP, and this is the unicast source IP for this particular proxy node, and this is the peer, which is the second proxy node. So we're going to flip this IPs. The source IP on the next node is going to be 117, and the unicast peer is going to be 116 on the other node, on the second proxy node. So what we're going to do is this is the first proxy node. Go to the second proxy node. So as you can see, as mentioned earlier on, source IP is 117 and the peer is 116. So let's enter, and this is going to be created in the /etc keep alive D keepaliveD.conf. So next we're going to restart the keep alive D and the proxy service on both nodes. So it is also important to create an rcslog server on the nodes, on the proxy nodes. So we're going to make this directory, and then we add this configuration to the proxy node. Then we configure the rcslog.conf file. Then we start rcslog server. So now we're going to create an SSL certificate on all the proxy server, and then so I will explain later on why we need to create this HAProxy SSL.pem when we're configuring the compute node. So I believe the reason why this wasn't working was because here I added move HAProxy-SSL.pem to this without stating the fully. So okay. So next we do this. That is correct. So the next thing is we're going to, oh yeah, I need to do this same thing on this server here. So the next thing is we're going to add the configuration of the HAProxy file, HAProxy.cfg. We're going to do that on both. So don't worry, this configuration file will be made available on in the description section, or a link where you can have access to the configuration. So next we're going to add this. That's this IP non-local bind, because without this you will not be able to use the so let's see if we can ping 2.168.80.115. So as you can see, we can ping the virtual IP address. So because I have os-alt-vip, as you can see, we can now ping the IP address because we added this command to it. So next we're going to run this command on all the proxy servers. We will now start the proxy service. So if we go to the web, so if we do os-alt-vip, okay, so we're supposed to, because in the configuration file we used admin and the password. So as you can see, we've configured the HAProxy successfully. So this here, the RabbitMQ management, that's for the queuing service in Openstack, and this is the Keystone public fronts and Nova and all the Openstack services. As we install them, all this portion of this Rabbit management is going to turn green. So that comes to the end of this portion of installing and configuring Openstack in a high availability environment. Thank you very much for watching. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.